that leads us right into our next
conversation topic.
Great transition.
Wow,
Great
okay.
transition.
I mean,
Great transition.
That was an average.
Oh, were you playing
Okay.
this morning?
Yes, I was having a gig.
Fun.
Okay, Mark, cut
Yeah,
this.
Landon.
Future Mark.
Cut this.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. So.
Good morning and welcome back to the Broken Yolk podcast. I'm not the host, but the co-host, Pam Sillips.
And I'm not the host, but the co-host, Pillen Dearson. And I'm not the host, not the co-host, but the guest host, Mark Hudson. And I'm very confused. That's good. Good job, guys. Yeah, we did it. I don't know how much went into that stupid intro. so much.
That was only 3 takes, though. That was fine.
That's fine. It's okay.
I thought it was
More
five.
than it needed. Okay. More than it needed. Yes.
Coffee, Mark.
It's great. So, ladies and gentlemen, just as a quick, for this episode, we don't have, we have a guest host as Mark Hudson, but we want to kind of take account for everything that has happened since starting this podcast,
Like
go through some of
recap,
the trials and
you know?
tribulations, and share what we've learned while going on this journey, because it's been a very unique project for each of us, and new challenges have come up, and so it's been a very interesting process, and we'd just like to share that with you.
Yeah, you're right when it's been a unique journey. I found out so much about how like a business works and like all the things that go, like we thought this was going to be a small project at first, like, oh, a podcast, we'll just upload it every week. No, there's so much that goes into it, from like editing, like finding guests, coming up with questions. And so, yeah, we're going to explore that today. So, I mean, let's start off and like I'd love to just each kind of talk about something that we've learned about ourselves from this podcast in the last, month and a half. Because we've all had a crucial role in this podcast, even though you've not been on each podcast, or like you've only been on one.
I watched them all.
You've watched them all, and then you've edited them all, and so I'm sure that's like brought out some things like about refining your workflow or whatever. So why don't we start?
And
with
I have never before seen clips that I can release at any moment.
You have so much blackmail.
I have so much blackmail.
Do you save them?
Of us saying, like,
I mean, at the moment, I'm gonna have to not save them because it's like 16 gigs per project.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
16 gigs of us being idiots.
Yeah,
on your
yeah, basically.
computer. And Mark's like, this will come in handy one day.
But I do, like, even though my computer has a terabyte, which is a lot,
Yeah.
that's a lot
You're
of storage.
It's a lot of storage.
I'm hearing you're stingy. You don't have room for
Right.
your friends on your computer.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about.
Yeah. So talk about
the experience.
your experience so far.
My experience?
Let's do it.
Well, it's been fun in that, like, I get to watch all these from I always get to play God a little bit. I get to play God
a little bit.
A little bit.
It's dangerous.
Which is not against my complex.
I had thundercrack outside.
Yeah,
I wouldn't stand under any trees.
What?
Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, like it's fun because I get to communicate with y'all, and I love working with y'all. I always love working with y'all.
That's good. We have our doubts.
What?
Like about if you like working
If
with
you
us.
enjoyed working with us. No, I mean, genuinely, because each episode requires
So much work.
The first episode was
It's a lot of
generally
work.
5 to 6 hours.
And you're not
of
just
pure
like
editing.
for all of you to know, like he's not just like the editor. He's done so much for our podcast in terms of like making an end screen for us that is animated with the steam rising from the coffee cup.
Yeah.
You designed our first logo, and then he's
That
like,
didn't last.
it didn't last. It lasted for like a
Up
week
the mic.
as the main logo, and then Dylan's friend did a better job.
Tad Williams.
But like,
Yeah, no, he did.
but like you did like a phenomenal job for the first like sketch of it, and just like you've come up with ideas that have just helped refine the podcast and make it what it is today in terms of just like maybe different things that we can not do, like instead of like starting it over there and just like walking in and fist bumping, just starting it sitting down and just being like, welcome back
to the
yeah,
Broken Yolk
exactly.
podcast.
It's
and with record formats and stuff like
Yeah. Well, also like Dylan said, the first edit that, I mean, so the first edit what you edited, and the second edit I edited.
That was the worst night of my life.
I remember it. And we both took about the same amount of time, which is about 5 to 6 hours editing,
So much.
which is so much. I've been every time I get like a little new trick in how to speed up the process.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest trick now is just gonna be now just sitting in on more of these recordings.
Yeah.
So I actually, because originally how it goes is you send me the podcast, it stays on my computer, I drop in the audio file and podcast, I line them up, and then I have to watch the entire podcast from start to finish
And see how it goes.
and see like what I need to cut based on what y'all do.
Yeah.
It'll be much easier if I have knowledge
idea already.
of what's beforehand.
And so that's interesting because I don't think, I mean, obviously I don't know if you have any ambitions to be any sort of editor professionally in jobs like that. And so,
I mean,
but
it's similar
think
to audio engineering.
But
Yeah,
similar
it
to
is.
audio engineering where, you know, you could use that technique when, if you're producing a song or something like that, you're like, I do want to sit in on that session and I want to hear you, even though I'm not going to be a part of the recording. I want to hear what you're doing.
Good job, Dylan. That's
So-
really insightful.
So I think that's, well, yeah, I think it's interesting to see what we can take away from, because I know that Sam has talked about in the past the way that this podcast has helped you listen so much better and helped you continue keep your language you know, diverse and poignant so that it
But not
isn't
too
rambling.
diverse.
But not
We get so diverse. We get so diverse.
Broken Yolk, you know, enables diversity. So yeah, no, that's
maybe
Sam, what if I guess Dylan just kind of answered what you learned, but have you learned anything else?
I mean, that's the gist of it. It's taught me about myself, like that I am not like a chronically great listener. Like it has taught me how to be, though. Like it's taught me in the moment, like I don't need to say everything that I'm thinking. So Dylan and you may be having a discussion, and let's say you're the main guest, like episode 2, you're our first guest.
Yeah.
You know, my temptation is to like say, oh yeah, like I can relate to that, and then tell something about me, where that's like, you know, distracting. Like the point of this podcast is to elevate the guest and elevate their stories and experiences.
Right.
And it's not right for me to like, you know, butt in all the time with like things that I've learned. And so I see like moments like when I watch every episode of, like back after you send me the final cut of it, and I'll like see moments where I'm like, it looks like I'm staring off into space, and that I'm like, I know exactly what I'm thinking right there, because I remember thinking that, and it's I'm so glad I didn't say that, not because it would have been like horrible, just because like I think it would have taken away from the specialness that was the episode.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say, I'm gonna butter your bread here. Y'all do a fantastic job of like elevating the guest and being thought provoking.
Thank you.
Like spilled coffee. But like every time I watch it,
leave. You have to get out.
no, I just got back.
Sorry, you're fired.
Is this what happened in callbacks? If like you can sit home, like you're like
I spilled coffee. That's why I didn't book the gig.
Yeah.
It's not because I can't act.
No, every time I watch it, y'all do a great job of talking to people. It's really inspiring, actually.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
that's something that we've found is has been a really exciting challenge for us, is understanding how to we've kind of devised a bit of a system where one person, quote unquote, spearheads the episode, and then the other person is an active listener where you know, they're intrigued in the conversation and engaged in the conversation. But that's something that has been interesting in the way that we structure our questions and our conversation, because we want to have a structured, almost interview-esque conversation, because that's how we can get deep. But it has to be informal enough to be able to allow for, you know, free-flowing conversation. So I think that that's something that has at least helped me in my everyday conversations, being able to talk to people and
for sure.
and understand how to
Yeah.
you know, ask them a question or think about how they're going to be responding in a way that's interesting for people listening. That doesn't, I mean, obviously I'm not trying to make my life a podcast, but it's just something where I
Right,
want to
I
have
mean,
interesting conversations all the time.
I was gonna say that I feel like it doesn't just apply to within the setting of the context of the within the context of the podcast. I think that it's teaching us things that can be taken out into the real world that have nothing to do with, like, you know, a podcast. You know, my listening skills can be applied to my relationships with other people, and I've actually like had good feedback on that, like without asking. Like, you know, one of my friends told me recently, and I've never been told this before, that they're like, whenever I tell my friends about you, I always say like, you're a great listener and you're really funny. And I was like, I mean, I've been told I'm funny before, but I haven't ever been told that, I'm a good listener. And that was really new for me. And it was like, it meant a lot because I've really been through this podcast, like working on that.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
That's awesome. That's awesome to see that growth.
I had a random thought, by the way.
Go
when
for
we
it.
were talking.
Go for it.
You said, "Oh, it's not like I'm trying to turn my life to a podcast." I was like, "The Dylan Pearson podcast becomes the Truman Show, podcast."
oh my gosh. Yeah.
I have a pop filter wherever I go, and I just think that's normal.
Yeah.
Just in front of my face.
Just right in front of your face.
Honestly, that's a good metaphor for like how we should act. Honestly, like a sensor in front of what we say.
Have you ever seen the Truman Show?
I have, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
He
I,
has.
that's actually
That is something he's
a
seen.
funny story. So my parents showed me that movie when I was in on a Hawaii vacation one time, and I thought that it was real.
Really?
Really?
You
Yeah.
lived in the Truman Show.
Not that I lived, but like I
But,
thought
like,
it
you
was
thought
like
it-
10 years ago. This was actually a thing that happened.
Like a documentary, right?
Yeah. I thought that they had actually done this to this guy, and I was like,
Wow.
wait, this
Like,
it was
that's
blowing
messed
my mind.
up.
I was like, wait,
So when he
How
like,
did he
when
not-
when he turns
What?
around and waves at the end and then spoiler alert and then leaves the bubble.
Yeah.
Were you just like, yeah, Truman, go, you
Yeah.
deserve it,
or
yes!
like it happened when I was watching it. Wow, that's crazy.
You're like, why haven't I seen this channel before?
Yeah,
This is
and then when I
amazing.
like click on the channel, then that's when he figures out it's a fake. Like that's crazy, bro.
That's insane.
I have so much power.
That's a
like,
great-
and then I saw the ending and the credits, and I was
And
like,
you were like,
oh wait. No, my parents like make fun of me for that all the time. It's so
Really?
funny. Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
funny.
gosh.
But anyways, what has been y'all's favorite episodes so far? Like, to watch, to edit, like from a host standpoint, from a viewer standpoint. Like, what do you think, Dylan?
From a viewer standpoint, from a host standpoint, Abby's episode
Yes.
was so much. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just, I don't know if it translated super well through the podcast, but it was very magical. Just the connections that we were able to make there between us three,
Yeah.
as in becoming closer as friends.
Yeah, I like never had met her before, and now we're like close.
Yeah, 100%. I hear her.
awesome.
She's always like, yeah, I saw Sam today. And that's just something. I don't know. That's something you can't manufacture. It was just the right people at the right time having the right conversation, which was so cool. I think as a viewer, excuse me, my favorite was Jasmine's, because you took the lead on that and you asked a lot of the questions, and you wrote a lot of the questions and asked them. So it was really cool for me to kind of sit back and listen to her. She's such an interesting human. She has such good thoughts to share and is so talented. So it's just so wonderful to be able to sit back and listen to her, talk about her experiences and talk about her passions. And I did. Yeah, that was very, very cool for me. Yeah. How about you, Mark?
Kind of like you, I think I have two different perspectives, from an editor perspective and a viewer perspective. So, as an editor, I would have to say Abby. I will, of course, that was the first episode where I actually took like a few more creative liberties while editing.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, you talked to us, like you
talked to
broke
y'all.
the third wall.
I
or
did.
Fourth wall.
Yeah,
or
I did break the
whatever.
fourth wall a little bit, but also like y'all are funny. Y'all were really funny, and there's some bits I had to cut out because they were also
They were a little
funny.
too
A
funny.
little too funny.
If you know what I mean,
We almost won
viewership.
the comedy award
But
for
no, but
best joke. Okay.
honestly, dude, it was so funny. It was great to watch, and then y'all's talk about religion and just life, super deep, thought provoking. It was fun to edit. It was a great time. I was not
cool.
bored while doing it. Like Dylan could probably remember me being hunched over my desk doing that.
That was the first one with the end screen on it, right? Like,
Yeah, that was the first one on the end screen.
that
Yeah,
was good, and the full beat at the end, which is so sick.
I need
love
to
that.
fix that too.
Yeah, the
but
fade in, or
that
the
is
fade
out.
something I will.
It was right the first time. The YouTube in screen thing only lasts 20 seconds, so I had to fix it.
I'm sorry.
I want to butter your bread a bit, Mark.
Sorry,
But I'm just gonna butter. He went from
Butter your
5
bed.
hours of editing to like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
Like you've knocked it down. So
Yeah,
that's
I've knocked
imagine
it
what
down
it's
a
gonna be
lot.
in like another 10 episodes. Like,
Once I'm
Just-
able to watch,
he's
and
gonna do
take
it in like
notes.
20 minutes. What would be
Maybe
cool? I have
not.
an idea for you. Like,
Okay.
what would be cool? You know how the timer on the timer app, you can like lap. Like, there's a lap setting.
The timer on the time.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
smart.
that's
So like
super
every
smart.
time you see a cut, you could press that,
Yeah.
and you can line it up exactly with the video.
That's super
That's
smart.
really smart.
I'm totally gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that out for Sloan's episode.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There we
Wow.
go. There we go.
Wow, wow, wow. wow, wow, wow.
So as a
I might
viewer,
cut
what
that.
is
Yeah, viewer.
what has been your favorite as a viewer?
Okay, I'm fair.
Because
Mine.
you never talk,
I'm
you
kidding.
never talk about yourself as a viewer. Like
Right.
I'm interested to hear like that sort of side.
You know what? I think I may have been pulling y'all's chain from like the viewer editor perspective. I think as a viewer too, Abby's
Abby's was your
episode,
favorite episode?
like it was just,
It
it
was
was
a great
fun.
episode,
It was
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It was
really.
Go Abby.
like go Abby, go y'all,
Go every
everyone.
every one of our
go
guests.
everyone. I mean,
Go mom.
Hi, Mom.
hi mom.
Hi, Mom.
My mom's in
If Kim's
Maui
watching
right now.
this, hi.
Hi. Hey, Kathy and Tim.
Hey
You
David.
call
hey,
your
Kim.
parents by their first
God,
names.
no. That was really weird. It felt terrible to call them by their first name.
No.
I don't. Hi, Mom and Dad. That's way better.
Hey Brian and Sarah.
That's I can't. No, okay.
Yeah.
Quick side comment. Whoever calls their parent. Okay, I
That's
get
a
it, like,
type of relationship.
But that I can't. I mean,
cannot have.
my kids. When I have kids, if I have kids, when I have kids, I'm gonna be like, no, Dad, like,
Dad.
Dad,
It's Dad.
Pops, anything like that. Do not
Hi,
say
Dylan.
what's up. Go to your room. Go to your room.
Go to your room first.
Am I
Go to
being
your-
grounded?
like, yeah, you're being grounded. Call me by Dylan. No, shoot. Call me by my name, which is Dad.
Or father?
I'm gonna legally change my name to Dad, so then my kids can't do that to me. That does
And
not.
then you can really go, hi son, I'm Dad.
But like, no, I'm okay. This is a little bit of a weird rant, but like, I will be friends with my kids. But I'm gonna be a parent to my kids first, and then I'm gonna be friends with my kids after they're 21, and I'm like, you wanna get a beer and watch the game?
Nice.
And by then it's gonna be so ingrained that they're gonna say, "How's it doing? How's it going, Pops?" And I'm gonna be like, "It's great. How you doing, son?" That's what I want. I don't want them to be like, "What's up, Dylan?"
You've thought about this.
Yeah, I have, because
Yeah.
it gets on my nerves when I hear people talk about like, "Oh yeah, my mom, Karen." You're like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry." She's what? I understand there are different situations and different, but I'm talking pure like biological. And it's purely my point of view, and I do not think differently
It's
of
funny
you or
that
your
it annoys you
relationship.
this
It
much.
annoys me so
It's
much.
really funny,
It
actually.
really
it
funny.
annoys me so much.
It's like it irks me, but it doesn't like.
no, it gets.
So,
I don't care if
it
you
doesn't
do it.
enrage me.
I don't care
Dylan,
if you do
you-
it. It's your choice if you do it, and like I don't think any differently of you or your relationship with your parents. That's just something I will not have.
You are a fascinating person.
Thank you.
Um,
Wow.
Understatement of the century.
Understatement of the century.
Am I Da Vinci?
No, that's good. Fascinating. That's good.
Dylan, you don't really get mad at anything, and that's great. Like you gel with people, right?
He does get
But
mad at.
but like the things you do get mad at are always so specific.
And so weird. Like
like
That's not okay. I
some people are like, oh, world hunger. Like, and you're
Yeah,
just
I mean-
like calling your parents by a first name. Like, what?
because I feel like that's more contested. Where I don't know. It's just I feel like it's just I don't want this like if we're
What do
gonna
you
get
do? You
into
think
it
it like removes the authority aspect? Is that
I don't
what
care about
bothers
authority.
you?
It's just it's like it's kind of disrespectful and like so casual and everything. I feel like it disregards the relationship and it's kind of to me I see it as an ultimate pushing of boundaries. And like removal of the sanctity that is
parenthood.
And the fact that like no, I want to be called Dad and like I want to be your dad and that's an important word to me and like I want to be what my dad was to me and you know I want to be able to have that relationship with my kid because I think it's so special and having my kid call me Dylan versus having my kid call me hey Pops, hey Dad, or you know like, what's up Daddy-o, like that's so much more. It's like, oh my
Daddy-o,
gosh,
yeah.
I'm
Yo,
your
your
dad.
kids-
I think
Boogie woogie woogie.
I think the most important part of my maturing was switching from calling my parents mommy and daddy to mom and dad. Like, think about it.
Yeah, I still call my mom Mama, my dad Papa.
I call
Padre.
my
My grandparents.
I call my mom either Mom Bear, Mother Dearest. I say Mother Dearest a lot.
Mother dearest. I like that. That's fun.
My
But, like-
my third youngest brother calls my mom mother, and he's the only person, and it's really creepy and weird.
Well, like if mom calls me and like I'll say, "Hey, Mother
Mother.
Dearest." Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's supposed to be sweet and endearing.
But that's a southern thing.
But that's way different.
No, it's not. That's a Mark thing.
That's a Mark thing. Well, but
That's a Mark thing.
That's also
People in the
way
South are
different
just
than,
way nicer to their
like,
parents.
Bring, bring, and pick it up, and you're like, mother. That's way. That's really weird. How are you today, mother? It's like, whoa, call me like mom. Chill out. Like we're not
on that.
we're not a contract. You don't have to say mother. You can say mom. Calm down. Okay.
Female person who birthed
Female
me.
person who birthed me.
Wait, did we get on a tangent?
So okay.
Wait, what?
This is,
Yeah,
this
okay,
is,
we need to get back
no,
to
but
that.
like, okay, quick thing. That is an overcorrection. If that is my kid being a smart aleck. If I say like, don't call me dad, and they're like, father who birthed me, I'm like, okay, cool your
Okay.
jets.
Okay, go to your room again.
Go to your room again.
Person who gave me life.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, so Mark, you described
Yeah.
your favorite episode as a editor and as a viewer. I'd have to say mine would definitely as a host be yours.
Yeah, that's true. Yours was very fun.
And
Yours was
and I'm not
super
just saying
fun.
that because you're on the podcast. I think that just because it was our first guest episode, there was something special about it. And if you'll notice, like I think it was like the perfect storm of like everything going right when everything shouldn't have gone right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Like it was our first one, and we had like a bunch of technical difficulties with the guests after you and like other things, and for some reason
It didn't go wrong.
yours just went perfect. And I think and there was just something special about that.
It was kind of a proof to us that this could work. That
Yeah.
this is something where we could, because our first episode was not the greatest.
I remember being so excited after we filmed.
After we
his,
filmed it,
and
because
I
it was like,
I remember
this
just like being
is-
like, Dylan, this
it-
is we have something special.
It's what we wanted it to be.
Right.
And it, whether other people think it's special or not, I think it's important that you helped make it so that we felt like this was something
Yeah.
that we could continue to
Absolutely.
create.
I mean, I had a great time. I like hanging out with you guys afterwards, just in general. I love hanging out with y'all.
hanging out with you too,
In
Mark.
fact, I want to play some disc golf tonight.
Thank you. Oh yeah.
Let's play some disc golf tonight. Let's play some
urban.
urban.
Let's play some
But
urban.
anyway, besides that, like I had this conversation with Dylan last night. It's not about like how many people you have watching. It's about how professional you carry yourself out, and that like makes an impact on your guest. Y'all carry yourselves out very professionally,
Thank you.
and
We try.
It's really good. It's really good. I actually respect the heck out of it.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. Yeah, you're totally right when you say like it's not about how many people are watching. I think the greatest things in history have always been the things that connect people.
Oh, yeah.
When Apple was created, the company Apple,
Steve Jobs, man.
he created the iPhone to connect people. Connection was the key. Facebook, connection was the key. Like all the biggest innovations in history have always been to connect people. And that's what the point of this podcast is. Like that's even beyond elevating our hosts, like connection. Like even if we had 0 viewers on an episode, even like the specialness of what happened with me connecting with Abby, you connecting with me, all of
Yeah.
that thing,
Right.
that's
That
what
would
it's about
still-
right there.
yeah, it would
You
still
know?
remain.
We wouldn't even have to release that, and we
No.
just had a conversation that was an hour long with a guest,
And it was-
who we've now formed a relationship with.
Yeah.
And the ultimate thing in this life, like to an extent, is relationship.
Yeah,
and then it's what
100%.
you do from there with those relationships that really
100%.
matters. You know.
And that's actually something that I think is really number one. That was beautiful. Number two,
Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
I was recently in a master class with Rob Rikiki. He was the composer of Percy
Oh, the
Jackson
guy
and
that
Lightning
Drake wrote
Thief.
the song about.
Yeah. Who?
Robert Rikiki, do you love me? Are you right?
Oh, the dad jokes.
That's been your favorite part of editing these, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know where we were gonna go with the O. You're gonna go hello or
Oh,
yeah.
hello. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Rob Rikiki.
Dylan, I think you've worn that shirt for like 4 out of 7 episodes.
It's my favorite shirt. It is
a
genuinely
good
my
shirt.
favorite shirt. It is. So for those who are not viewing, it's a Star Wars shirt with a New Hope's title card or movie poster, and then on the back it has the
it'd be
title scroll that's
I just
on
came
the
up with a
first
good t-shirt
part of
idea for
the
you.
movie in the first part.
Since
It's my
you're
favorite.
Catholic,
Yeah.
I think that you should get a Star Wars shirt that has the New Hope thing, and then on the back it says a new Pope.
and it's Pope Francis
Yeah.
holding up a crucifix.
No, holding up a lightsaber.
Lightsaber crucifix.
Lightsaber crucifix. Isn't that basically what Kylo Ren has?
It's
a cross.
green or something like that, or like it's for justice or like protecting
Yeah.
is the color that he has on his lightsaber.
Yeah, dude.
That's
dude.
literally. You're welcome.
Are we talking about sacrilege right now?
Or sacrilege?
Are we talking about sacrilege right
Sacrilege?
now?
Yeah.
Marketing
Sacrilege.
Christianity. Oh my god.
Okay,
Wait,
Making
what?
money off
Wait.
the Pope.
I'm with the
Wait.
Pope.
I think we're good.
I think he's not. Yeah, he's not.
I think we're
Jesus
good.
is in the corner, but like he's smiling. He
He's
thinks it's
laughing
fine.
with
He's
us.
laughing, right.
He knows what. Yeah,
Hey
Jesus.
man, you're going great, man.
You're too much, Jesus.
Okay.
So,
Anyways,
Theater major.
Robert Kiki.
He talked about how every single song has even this is in terms of musical theater, but
Yeah.
when you approach a song, it has a challenge and an expectation. When you sing "Defying Gravity" from Wicked, there is the
Gravity.
challenge of the song. There's the challenge of doing proper due course for the song and giving it its proper light, especially in its place for contemporary musical theater and what that song has meant to theater in the past 2 decades. But there's also an expectation. When you hear it as an audience, there's an expectation for you to, number one, you got to crush the riff at the end. It has to be so good. Number two, you got to be a great belter. Number three, you got to act the crap out of it. It's the ending finale. Number four,
Yeah.
there are all these expectations that come with, and there's an expectation as an artist to be able to perform it and, the context that you're performing it. So that all of that comes into, there's like this push and pull of being able to properly create this, this art and have it be something that is digestible by an audience. And I think that's something that we've recognized here with creating conversations is no matter how many viewers we have, no matter how much we have to put into it, there's this expectation of, when we work hard on it, there's always great, things will go wrong, but when we have good audio, there's an expectation for good audio, for interesting conversations. There's an expectation for, continued flow and ability
Yeah.
to be able, listenability. That's not a word. But then there's also this challenge of each one of those is a separate challenge within it. And so I think that's been something that's been interesting
Yeah.
to see you guys tackle, to see all of us tackle on this.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
the
feel like-
lessons that come from it.
Do you know what's gonna be the worst part about y'all getting better?
What's that?
Every time that y'all improve and get better, the bar
Goes
that
higher.
is gonna be higher.
Is so much higher.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird because there's like those expectations you're talking about from the audience on us, like expectations of like when I click on this podcast, this is what I want to see, like listenability,
Yeah.
interesting, like what's going to keep me here.
Mhm.
But then there's also the expectations we put on ourselves as hosts.
Yeah,
And I feel like
100%.
that's going to be even harder than the audience's ones because we are so perfectionist in the way that we approach things.
Definitely.
And we are so, we want this thing to be good. This is our baby. This is like our dream right here. And so, I feel like that's only going to get higher as well. And that's going to be really hard.
If this is y'all's baby, am I the nanny?
You are the nanny.
You're the nanny.
You're
you watch over it. You
Like-
also You also like are the barber because you cut it. You cut it. It's either that or the surgeon.
And you're you're also our swinger because you're sometimes on the podcast with it. So like, you're kind of like the pseudo daddy of this.
He's the babysitter because he sits on
He's the baby.
our
He
baby.
sits on our baby. Yeah. So yeah. How's
All
it feel
right.
to be
But
the-
we also have a rotation of people who'd like to sit on our baby.
I just got
That's very
compared
true.
Our baby
to
can
I just
take a
got
lot of
compared to a
people.
nanny, a barber, a swinger, and then a person who sits on babies.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Which I think is a proper explanation.
Yeah.
Of what I do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
a proper explanation. And yeah, definitely.
Not Dylan and I being the king of metaphors once more.
Once more,
Oh,
once
once
again.
more.
Yeah, this podcast definitely calls me dad.
No, I think it calls you Dylan Pearson and whatever your first
I'm gonna
last middle name is.
I'm gonna send it to its
Yeah.
room. I'm gonna be. We're gonna have a talk with this podcast afterwards.
Yeah, so I think the remaining point is this: that we've grown a lot from this podcast, all 3 of us, in different ways. And I know that you had not said this before, but with this sort of format, we want to keep the what was I gonna say? I was gonna talk about this sort of like me and you format, like the single episodes, or with Mark.
Yeah. So going going forward, we want to continue to have guests and share interesting stories with you and have deep thought-provoking conversations with interesting people. But we'd also like to do small check-ins where we have kind of solo episodes where maybe we do a deep dive on a specific topic, or we just kind of check in on some of the unique challenges we've had. We chose with this podcast, but we could also choose with, Mark as a producer, Sam as a producer, songwriter, challenges we've had with the professions and the passions that we're going in. We just want to have, some ability to kind of let you guys get us to know us and have us better.
We're opening up our comment section on YouTube and our Instagram DMs to suggestions of topics or advice that you'd like to send our way for these single episodes. And for any episodes in general, but mainly for the single ones. If there's a specific event or topic that you'd like us to discuss, we'd be more than happy to entertain that idea. So please feel free to DM us, give us a follow on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
I
Yo, should we do should we do a one day do a performance episode where I have my cajon, Dylan has his electric, and then you have your acoustic, and we go to town?
That'd be cool.
Jam sesh. I think that's something we could talk about in the future. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to dive into more the technicalities of our stuff. Yeah, so I'm really appreciate that Mark has been able to join us today and that you guys have continued to listen. Before we head out, I would just like to ask that you send thoughts and prayers to one of my good friends, one of our viewers, and
therefore one of my friends.
One of his
any
friends,
friend of Dylan is a friend of mine.
Kaya Carson. She recently she tested negative for COVID just the other day, but she was recently had COVID and it really hit her especially hard. So just giving her some extra thoughts, some love and prayers as she continues to heal from that sickness and continues to go on that journey of health. And just as a reminder that, this is not over and that there are still needing to be special precautions to take to be able to protect your own health and the health of your friends, because it is a very real, very terrible disease, and it's something that is preventable if we follow specific measures. And we just
booster shot.
There's booster shots, and I mean, if you don't feel comfortable with the booster shot, there are things where you can wear a mask, you can wash your hands, you can keep distance as much as you can. Don't go out in big crowds. Still, it's still very prevalent, especially here in Nashville.
Right.
And this is not from a point of political views. This is a point from things that have worked for us, especially in the past, to protect your own health, because
we love people to be healthy.
Yeah, we don't want anyone else.
The root of it
is
is just love others, with your actions. And so if you love others and have love for others and want to demonstrate that love, then take the right precautions.
I love you, Sam.
Simple as that. I love you too. Love you too.
Wow.
All right, that's all our time for today. Thank you so much for watching, viewing, and subscribing. Be sure to press the like button and go follow this guy on Instagram. We'll link his socials down below. And go follow the Broken Yolk.
Yeah,
because we post really funny videos on the stories.
Funny videos.
Little wild, little crazy.
It's a good time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We hope you all have a wonderful day. We're gonna go shoot another podcast episode with another very talented person.
Yeah.
So
watch out for that next week.
Love you so much.
Bye. Merry
peace.
Christmas. It's after Halloween. Play Christmas music all you want.
Play Thanksgiving music.
Play Christmas music. It's happening.
Okay.
It's
Peace.
here.
Peace.